Good evening. The ANA NYC Communicators of the Year Awards have been among marketing's most enduring and prestigious for 57 years. Each year, we've sought to recognize the brands and individuals who have distinguished themselves with their achievements and extraordinary work. Given how extraordinary the past year has been, the very notion of extraordinary work takes on new meaning. I think about the massive transformations in marketing through the years, and then I think about the monumental transformations that have occurred over these last 12 months. I think about the brands and individuals who at a time of great need evidenced their ability to lead from the front lines of marketing, of digital transformation, of purpose, of employee and customer engagement, of social impact and activism, and I'm honored. I'm honored to be with you all at this event as so many marketers, our entire profession in my view, have distinguished themselves in so many ways. I'm honored to be in the presence of four truly distinguished brands and leaders. Representing Abbott Labs, Melissa Broats, Vice President, Global Marketing and External Affairs. Representing Hum Nutrition, Walter Falstrow, Co-founder and CEO. Representing Dell Technologies, Rachel Henke, Director, Global Brand Advertising, Content, and Customer Storytelling. Representing Gatorade, Jill Abbott, Head of Consumer Engagement. Our honorees will shortly share the work that earned tonight's accolades. There's one commonality that jumps out for me. Amid unprecedented challenge and necessary transformation, these brands and brand leaders did not tread lightly. They strode forcefully into change, and in doing so, they extended their leadership, which is a lesson for us all. With that, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, TriNet, and Twitter. I'd like to especially thank The Wall Street Journal for producing this event. The Journal has been a longtime and generous supporter of Communicators of the Year, and never more so than this year. To start the evening's proceedings, I am truly delighted to turn the virtual podium over to my good friend, Victoria Morrissey, Global Marketing and Brand Director for Caterpillar. Victoria was a Communicator of the Year award winner last year, so who better to carry the torch as our MC tonight? If you were fortunate enough to see Victoria's presentation a year ago, you'll know very well how she strives to and succeeds in putting the customer at the center of all of Caterpillar's marketing efforts. Please join me in welcoming Victoria Morrissey.
Thank you, Tom, and good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be back at the Communicators of the Year Awards event. The ANA represents many of the most powerful and influential brands in the world, brands that not only have ambitious agendas, but are also doing amazing things to improve the world. And especially at a time when we're all seeking to ensure the world's health and well-being, to assure social justice, to sustain our environment, and to bring our families and our communities closer together. ANA New York City, ANA's Business Marketing's New York chapter, is by far the ANA's largest chapter and its most vibrant. After all, this is New York we're talking about. ANA New York City's board works diligently throughout the year to identify the communicators who best exemplify marketing innovation, creativity, and courage. I was truly humbled that I and Caterpillar received a Communicators of the Year award for putting purpose and passion at the heart of our marketing. Doing so has enabled us to persevere and progress even amid a global pandemic. And as Tom pointed out, the Communicators of the Year award is now in its 57th year. That's amazing. In and of itself, that is a marketing success story. And tonight, we will hear four other profound marketing success stories. As I marvel at the imagination and the resilience of our award winners, a word near and dear kept coming to my mind: humanity. At such a critical time, at a time when our brilliant, vibrant 3D world flattened to 2 dimensions, at a time when isolation and disconnection prevails, these brands and marketers all focused more internally and intensely than ever on the power of human connection. It's a power we may have taken somewhat for granted before. To do so, they worked harder, they worked more creatively, they worked more persuasively, they worked more innovatively to tell their stories, to support their stakeholders, to surprise and delight, to give back, and to drive business growth. These brands and marketers held their ground. They fiercely re-embrace their own, their employees, and their customers' humanity. In each case, for every award recipient, humanity was not a factor, it was the factor. The 4 Communicators of the Year award winners we celebrate are marketers who are leading the way, changing marketing for the better and changing the world for the better. Here's how our program will unfold. We have 4 categories: the game changer, the storyteller, the virtualizer, and the connector. Each of our 4 honorees will be introduced by and receive their awards from one of our sponsors: Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, TriNet, and Twitter. We'll then hear from each winner and get insights into the work that earned their award designations. These insights are my favorite part of the program and what really makes the Communicators of the Year unique. It's an opportunity for all of us to learn and to be inspired. So let's get started. Our first Communicators of the Year category is the Game Changer. Our winner for Abbott Labs is Melissa Bratz, who's Vice President of Global Marketing and External Affairs. Melissa and her team did no less than reorient this life science leader for an all-out effort to develop COVID-19 rapid tests, a breakthrough that quite literally changed the game, especially for our frontline workers. To introduce Melissa, please welcome Rob Welch, Vice President, Enterprise Partnerships at the Wall Street Journal and Barron's Group, and an esteemed ANA New York City board member. Rob?
Well, thank you, Victoria, for kicking us off. I'm Rob Welch. I'm the Senior Vice President for Media and Marketing at the Wall Street Journal Barron's Group. The Journal's proud to be a sponsor of the Communicator of the Year Awards, celebrating best-in-class work from B2B marketers. Our support of this event goes back at least 15 consecutive years. Like everyone participating tonight, we hope that the 2021 awards program will be able to be hosted live and in person next year. The last 12 months have required all of us to be more resilient and nimble, 2 traits that leading marketers, agencies, platforms, and content publishers have all embraced. I'm very pleased to be able to present this year's Game Changer Award to Melissa Bratz, the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer at Abbott, for the standout work she and her team have done as marketers, but also in recognition of Abbott's breakthrough rapid testing technology that's helping contain the COVID-19 pandemic. Truly inspiring work. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you, ANA Business Marketing Association, New York. I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of my team and my 109,000 Abbott colleagues around the globe who earned the attention of the world last year with their work to support the pandemic. This recognition is a tribute to their excellence. For those of you who may not know Abbott, I'd like to start off with a video that shares who we are.
We all fall down, we get banged up, but the scars show what we're made of. Don't you look back, lift your head up, shake the dust off, tell me what you're made of. I can't hear you breathing, our lungs beating, our heart. Let's flip the verse, you got something to say. It's a brand new day. 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 When the rain falls, when the ground shakes, when the wind blows, when your heart breaks, show me sorrow, show me laughter, show me starlight, show me what you have to. I can't hear you breathing, our lungs beating, our heart. Let's flip the verse, you got something to say. It's a brand new day. 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 See the sunrise. Oh, fire in your eyes. Oh, it's about time we all saw you shine. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new
Before COVID struck, you may have known Abbott for some of our more consumer-facing brands, like our nutrition products Similac, Pedialyte, and Ensure, and our Freestyle Libre continuous glucose monitor for managing diabetes. But today, as you just saw, we're much more than that. We're a global health tech company with leading businesses and products that span diagnostics, medical devices, nutrition, and branded generic medicines. We're in 160 countries, and we've been in business for more than 130 years. One of the things my team has been keenly focused on for the last several years is strengthening our corporate identity and reputation and making sure all of our stakeholders recognize Abbott for all that it is and the important role we play in global health. We've made great progress, and our efforts to build reputation and earn trust have been acknowledged in many ways. Abbott has been one of Fortune's most admired companies every year since 1984 and is ranked #1 in our industry for the past 8 years. And just this week, we ranked among the top 50 world's most admired companies for the first time. Last year, we were named to 2 lists that recognize our societal impact: Fortune Changed the World, and we were named Fast Company World Changing Company of the Year. But while Abbott's reputation has grown over the past several years, we've not been in the ranks of the world's top corporate brands. In 2019, we created a roadmap aimed at getting Abbott recognized as a trusted household name. We truly believe that the power of our company is in our purpose of helping people live fully with greater health, freedom, and dignity. That's powerful, it's meaningful, and it's relevant. So we set out on that journey to household name. We took a 5-pronged approach, focusing our efforts squarely on customers and patients who were really here to serve, ensuring a clear and consistent identity wherever we show up in the world by providing the tools, assets, and training. Deploying breakthrough creative and storytelling with stopping power, driving association and recognition of Abbott's leadership in key areas of health, and finally, inspiring our own employees to be our biggest champions by engaging them in brand activations and encouraging them to help tell our story. We knew it wouldn't be easy. A lot has to go right, and almost nothing can go wrong for a company to be among the most admired. We had a lot of work to do to get the pieces in place to make this happen. But guess what? Things didn't go according to plan. COVID hit, the world seemed to stop. But as you may know, Abbott didn't. My colleagues developed 11 COVID tests last year across 8 different testing platforms, including lab, rapid molecular, rapid antigen, and antibody tests. 3 of these tests were developed and then launched within weeks of learning that the virus was spreading globally. We were the first company to have an app called Navica that shows your test results as a QR code on your phone, just like an airline's digital boarding pass. It's no charge, and it's designed to give confidence to people and organizations, such as schools and workplaces, so they can get back to living a bit more normally. Abbott people also built 3 new manufacturing facilities in the US to support our ability to manufacture at scale in just 16 weeks, compared with what would normally take 18 months. Ultimately, we manufactured and distributed 400 million COVID tests to more than 120 countries in 2020. No other testing company was able to do so at that type of scale with such a comprehensive set of tests. We were able to execute because of our expertise in infectious disease surveillance and testing. Long before COVID, we were the company that developed the first HIV test, and our symptoms screened more than 60% of the world's blood supply. We also have a culture of outstanding execution, and that made all the difference in our ability to step up in a big way, not only in test development, but in supply chain, manufacturing, and scale-up. And because Abbott has been there to step up for the world with our COVID tests, we've been catapulted into the spotlight like never before. Enter my team. We did not have every piece in place, but we did have a clear idea of what we needed to do. We were ready, and we knew how to recognize an opportunity. One of the challenges we've had with our corporate identity is creating relevance for people who aren't necessarily using our products or don't have a current reason to listen to or engage with us. But our COVID diagnostics became relevant to nearly everyone. Really relevant. We took an integrated approach. We jumped into action to create better assets, video, B-roll, social, imagery, and really outstanding media relations. We also had a 2020 media buy that was scheduled to go live on April 1st. So we decided to ditch those ads and that we're planning to run the first half of the year, and instead created a scrappy new ad that emphasized our role in the fight against COVID. There were TV and print spots. I'd like to share the TV spot with you now.
This virus is testing all of us. And it's testing the people on the front lines of this fight most of all. So Abbott is getting new tests into their hands, delivering the critical results they need. And until this fight is over, we will never quit. Because they never quit.
I mentioned we were in the spotlight. That's probably a bit of an understatement. With just 2 early test launch announcements alone, we generated the highest volume of earned media in Abbott's history in just 2 weeks. There were tens of thousands of print and broadcast stories around our testing during 2020. Add to that visibility around contributions by Abbott and the Abbott Fund, our philanthropic foundation, of more than $24 million to support our communities and the front lines across 63 countries. The result is that all of our tests became known as the Abbott tests. While we were pleased with the attention, it was not without its challenges. The accuracy of our tests was under attack at several points from outside sources, some of whom didn't understand these new testing formats or the infection cycle. And we had to move fast to ensure the truth about our product quality and efficacy and make sure that it was communicated. I can say that initially our team did not expect us to be under fire in that way, to have our products misrepresented, often because of the politically charged conversations and coverage, was frustrating. But my team quickly pivoted, worked closely and quickly with subject matter experts, both inside and outside the company, to help educate media and others on rapid diagnostic testing. As the world started reopening in the summer, we recognized it was time to pivot again. We wanted to remind people that there's more to Abbott than COVID testing. The essence and power of Abbott is in our diversity. So the message this time was that Abbott is here for you with health tech that helps you in this new normal and reminds people you don't have to wait to live fully, even during this unusual time. We shifted focus on our medical device businesses with new ads that demonstrate our purpose and the role our connected health tech has in helping people live a bit more normally at this time. One features Freestyle Libre 2, which had just been approved for pediatric use here in the US. The message: don't wait to live fully. You can with continuous glucose monitoring that puts your mind at rest and lets your child live more normally. Let's take a look at that ad.
On-demand glucose monitoring, because they're always on. Another life-changing technology from Abbott. So you don't wait for life, you live it.
If we've learned anything from this, we've learned traditional marketing doesn't always fly in a volatile environment. And we've learned having a clear vision for what we want is mission critical. We were able to move faster and pivot rapidly because we knew what we wanted to achieve and had the skill sets in place to do so. We knew that communicating authentically and transparently was important, but in a crisis, it was mission critical. And that was the case not only with COVID, but with other societal issues like racism. While sharing our purpose wasn't new to us, we did learn how powerful communications can be when it's shaped by purpose. In our case, our purpose of helping people live healthier, better, fuller lives is highly relatable, especially in a pandemic. This not only resonated externally, but with our employees who live and breathe our purpose every day and want the world to know and appreciate all that Abbott is and does. There is enormous pride across Abbott for the work our company is doing. We communicated with employees about the amazing things their colleagues across the globe were doing to support our customers and our communities. And our employees have been our greatest ambassadors, sharing Abbott news and content about our COVID work and their social media channels, and sharing their own Abbott Proud stories through an internal ongoing campaign aptly called #AbbottProud. Finally, I learned a lot about my team, its depth, breadth, and resiliency. The pandemic was not business as usual. As I mentioned earlier, our plans and priorities shifted quickly once the pandemic took hold. I needed to mobilize people and in many cases pull them off of other projects they were working on to support our immediate needs around our COVID response. That created a domino effect. In fact, it was a luxury to be able to shuffle people around, give them opportunities to learn and grow and try new things. In business as usual, we may not have been as proactive in experimenting. So again, thank you, ANA, for this honor that I'm so pleased to accept on behalf of all of my colleagues at Abbott, including my amazing, resilient, relentless, and committed team.
Melissa, first of all, congratulations on being ranked among the world's top 50 most admired companies for the first time. That is a compelling and a well-deserved accomplishment for the entire Abbott organization. You described how powerful communications can be when shaped by purpose, and that the power of Abbott truly is its purpose. Like many a roadmap in 2020, Abbott's roadmap to become a trusted household name got turned upside down. Given your vision and embrace of purpose, I'm not surprised that when things didn't go according to plan, you were able to replan, and with such speed and effectiveness. That being said, you and your team displayed the ability to pivot, to recognize and seize the opportunity created by your COVID tests. And then you pivoted again as the world started reopening, reminding people that they didn't have to wait to live fully, even during this unusual time. The empathy you conveyed, the hope that you inspired, were not just worthy of Abbott's purpose. They made your purpose real, relevant, and relatable for all of us. And that is no easy thing. And neither is winning an ANA Communicators of the Year award. You and Abbott have, and with such good reason. So from one Communicator of the Year to another, congratulations and very, very well done. Our next category for the evening is the storyteller. Our Communicators of the Year have tended to come from large enterprises. Given the supersized role that small businesses played in 2020, we're delighted to honor Hum Nutrition and its co-founder and CEO, Walter Falstrow. A small growing company with a great leader and a great big heart. This year's storyteller created engaging and deeply emotional narratives, promoting diversity, equality, and inclusivity. To introduce Walter, please welcome Michael Mendenhall, SVP and Chief Marketing Officer and Chief Communications Officer of TriNet. Michael?
Thank you, Victoria, and good evening, everyone. The ability really to effectively communicate a relevant and authentic story about what matters most has never been more critical than it is today. I'm proud to serve as TriNet's SVP, Chief Marketing Officer, and Chief Communications Officer at TriNet, where we are proud to provide 19,000 hardworking small to medium-sized businesses with great HR solutions and outsourcing that will help power their businesses. Over the course of more than 30 years of existence, we've had a unique window into the challenges business face, as well as the really unparalleled opportunity entrepreneurs create for the American people through their innovation, invention, and the way they improve our lives as individuals, as communities, and as a nation. And we're here to celebrate those successes and appreciate and applaud their incredible stories and stories that they have to share with the world. This year's recipient of the Storyteller Award has a very important story to tell. as a successful serial entrepreneur, it would be very easy for this award winner in today's climate to just focus on business mechanics and the bottom line. But at a time when it mattered most, he refused to sit on the sidelines during the heightened societal changes taking place that are impacting his employees, his customers, the community, and himself. And he chose to take a stand, pull up, and effectively stand up and authentically communicate for that. So we are very proud to support this distinguished award. Please join me in welcoming this year's recipient, Walter Falstroff, Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Hum Nutrition. Walter, first, a big congratulations on the ANA Storyteller Award.
Thank you, Michael, for the introduction, and thank you for the ANA Award. I mean, I can't tell you how delighted we are as a company to have received this prestigious award. And from the bottom of my heart, we are truly delighted and touched that our work during the Black Lives Matter movement has been recognized by an external organization. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You know, Hum Nutrition, you develop sort of nutritional supplements that help people achieve beauty and lifestyle goals. And in fact, your tagline is "Beauty starts from within." A very interesting tagline for a moment in time that it could be so relevant. Can you talk a little bit about that campaign or that concept?
Absolutely. From day one, we really wanted to communicate to our customers that beauty is nothing external. It's really within you, and it's a question of nurturing that, and it's a question of supporting that. We make nutritional supplements, but when we talk about beauty starting from within, it also comes to your psychology, how you feel about yourself. So when last year's events happened, change also starts from within. It's not like something you can just have happen from the outside. We want to be part of positive change in the world, which is why we decided to participate with our communication during such important events. So our tagline, while it was meant to really speak about beauty to begin with, but really wanted to talk about change as well. And whatever we tell our customers, we want to lead by example, which is why we decided to communicate during these really, really difficult times.
Well, can you tell us how that then resulted in the campaign around Black Lives Matter and that movement? And certainly with all small to medium-sized businesses and also enterprise businesses, the idea of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how important that message has become today?
It's absolutely critical. And I think it's important to note that for us, diversity and inclusion wasn't something we wanted to speak about suddenly. That was ingrained in our DNA. When we started Hum in 2012, we decided our company values need to be defined very early on. And diversity, and as a result, inclusion was part of that. And fast forward a few years, we'll have an incredible diverse organization that we're really proud of, but that was really an effort that was years in the making. So when it came to talk about it, it was something very authentic, very organic to us, because this is something we truly believed in from day one.
Well, that's terrific. Internally, you also had a lot of conversations around the idea of participating in Pull Up or Shut Up.
Correct.
Can you talk to us about how that came about and how that interfaced with your marketing and communications?
Yeah, so there were two phases to it. So first of all, people wanted to know where we stood within the organization. Immediately they came out, hey, where are we? Aren't we participating in this conversation as a brand? Where are we standing in regards to Black Lives Matter? And we decided very quickly to be part of it because it's something we truly believe in. Employees came to me, I would say within 24 hours, friends came to me, use your platform to the greater good of society, which we decided to do over the weekend. So these things happened so quickly. I can't even tell you, it was a Friday when the conversation started. And then over the weekend, we said, let's do it. And on Monday, the communications came out. And you as a communication professional know how quickly things evolve. And we just felt very strongly about it. And I felt we owed it to our employees internally as well to really speak about this. So this is how it started. And then a few days later, because a lot of brands decided to talk about it, the pull up or shut up, hashtag started trending. And what it was about was to really share your internal data and the internal efforts you're taking as an organization to really say, where are you on this one? Are you just talking about diversity, or are you actively doing something about diversity? And we just shared our data and let our audience decide, is this good enough, or are there other things that we need to do? And obviously this is not a one done and for all, but this is something that will be ongoingly optimized. So this is how this all happened. And the reception, as you can imagine, not everybody loved what we're doing, but it was generally very, very positive. I think most people really respected how transparent we were, that we spoke openly about it, and what we actually had done to date. But that doesn't mean this is the end of the journey. This is an ongoing process for us that will continue to happen.
I mean, I believe that's so important because, companies across the world are so concerned that, you have this moment in time that became a pinnacle for sort of social and societal change. And so much of this could be pushed off as theatrical. And brands were very cautious, at least some of them, about not looking like that this was the theatrical moment. It sounds like at Hum Nutrition, this was embodied in your culture from the beginning, but then you started to participate in Pull Up, Shut Up, Black Lives Matter. Is this something that you will continue in some way, shape, or form?
Absolutely. I think these issues are so big. They're not just the one and we're done. This is something we'll need to work towards to hopefully one day we'll have racial justice. But in the meantime, we all have to do our part to participate in it and ask ourselves, what can we do actively to be part of this and to contribute to positive change? So that means internal conversations, education, internally and externally, and programs that you support and believe in to really contribute to that change when it comes to diversity and inclusion.
Perfect. I have one last question I have to ask. This is the ANA. So I want to ask an advertising question. How did your communication and advertising change relative to sort of this moment in time, COVID-19, the societal changes? What did you do as a company relative to this period?
Yeah, I think the key here was so much happened in the world, and there are moments when you want to communicate, and there are moments when you want to be silent as well. And there were literally we felt certain days, let's pull our advertising, stop, so other people can speak about what they need to speak about and really give our platform a pause so other platforms can rise. That was important. So your communication has to be really not just be right and you want to associate yourself with the right media partners, but also you want to know when to communicate and when not. And sometimes there are moments when silence is better. And, we were very mindful of that and continue to do so, because I think we're not done with this yet. There's much more to be done. But having said all that, I think being mindful of your audience, where the world is, and having your finger on the pulse is really key. And that's how we navigate these things.
Well, Walter, we certainly look forward to seeing how this campaign and your company evolves through the next several years. We wish you much success. You should certainly try their products. They're pretty awesome. I am a customer. Walter, again, congratulations on the ANA Storyteller Award. Certainly so well deserved. I think that's all we have now, Victoria, so I'm going to throw it back to you.
Walter, thank you. And thanks as well, Michael. What's so remarkable to me, Walter, is that as a small business, Hum Nutrition stood tall in such an authentic and impressive way. As a brand, you led by example. Rather than shut up, you pulled up. Across the brand universe, there has been plenty of conversation about Black Lives Matter and diversity, equality, and inclusion. The fact that when it mattered most, when a lot of businesses, small and large, were focused on their own survival, you refused to sit on the sidelines. That is beyond inspiring. The fact that you have been totally transparent is just as impressive and certainly lives up to your tagline that, quote, beauty starts from within, which tells me that this is far more than a tagline, rather the through line for your company, values, culture, and products. I also love that there were times when you chose to pause your advertising, to stop, so that others could speak and other platforms could rise. You and Hum Nutrition are indeed tonight's award-winning storyteller by virtue of your actions as well as your silence. Our next category is the virtualizer. Our winner, Dell Technologies, and Rachel Henke, Director, Global Brand Advertising Content and Customer Storytelling. In a year when the pivot to virtual progressed faster and farther than anyone could have imagined, Rachel and her team stopped at nothing to keep customers moving forward. To introduce Rachel, please welcome Jessica Sibley, Chief Revenue Officer at Forbes and longtime ANA New York City board member. Jessica?
Thank you, Victoria. It is Forbes's and my great pleasure to sponsor the Virtualizer category and to present this Communicators of the Year award to Dell's Rachel Henke. At Forbes, our goal is to deliver communities at scale through all of our platforms: digital, branded content, events, social, and video, to name a few. We chronicle success by celebrating those who have made it and those who aspire to make it, while convening and curating the most influential leaders and entrepreneurs who are driving change and transforming business, making a significant impact on the world. And our audience has never been larger, reaching more C-level executives, millennials, and audiences that really matter and who are bringing the most important conversations to life. When the pandemic hit, we knew we had to rethink our live event experience and pivoted completely to virtual. It's with that in mind and knowing how much goes into the virtual experience that I am so pleased to present the Virtualizer Award to Rachel. When COVID-19 sent the world home, Rachel and the Dell Technologies brand communications team kicked into high gear to support the customers and communities Dell serves by taking work, school, and life virtual. From supporting school districts, navigating remote and hybrid learning, to spinning up drive-through pickup locations for Dell's products, the brand team virtualized communications, events, and experiences, stopping at virtually nothing to serve and stay connected to their stakeholders. It's my great pleasure and honor to introduce and really to congratulate Rachel on this incredible award and to have her share Dell's inspiring story of resilience and resolve.
Thank you. And hello from Austin, Texas. I'm honored to be here and to be representing Dell Technologies for the Virtualizer Award, virtually no less. So, 2020 was a year that challenged all of us to be virtualizers in both our personal and professional lives. I'll spare everyone the details about my personal virtualization approaches, which largely leaned into unlimited screen time for my kids. Tonight, I'm going to share what happened at Dell Technologies and how 2020 was a year of putting our customer first in conventional and unconventional ways. So let's go back a year ago, February 2020. Remember those days? Going to the movies, hugging your neighbors, dining out, kids leaving the house for school, any of us leaving the house for anything. Those were the days. At Dell Technologies, it was business as usual in February 2020. For a bit of context, we've been working for years to establish our B2B brand as much more than a PC company, highlighting our end-to-end technology capabilities in areas like storage and cloud. And the next step in that marketing plan, we were about to launch an entirely new brand campaign for the company. We were in the final editing stages of creative and ready to premiere during the NCAA March Madness. Then, in early March, it all seemingly came crashing down. The world as we knew it changed, and every day brought news of COVID implications that made us personally and professionally pause. Where do we go from here? what's the right next move? For the remainder of our time together, I'd like to share 2 important ways we approached this unprecedented situation. First, what we did as a company in service of our team members and customers, and 2, how we shifted our marketing to show up in meaningful and helpful ways. So we'll start with what we did for our own team members and our customers. So Dell Technologies has been a proponent of flexible work for many years now. So for most of us, nearly 90% of us, we were able to pivot to work from home practically overnight. But many of our customers were not set up to be remote. So not only did we become an immediate tech provider for those urgently needing it, we also stepped in as consultants on best practices for going remote securely and fast. For some customers, we turned parking lots into tech distribution centers that allowed major companies to go completely remote, in some cases within 48 hours. And understandably, the healthcare industry was incredibly stressed. Many hospitals exasperating power supply, disrupting services, and impacting critical patient data. We have so many stories of working around the clock and around the globe to ensure hospital data was restored, secure, and available. And we didn't stop there. Our team members were empowered to do what it takes to help where they can, which resulted in thousands of small yet huge actions. So for example, using Zoom was already a part of our everyday life, but that wasn't the case for school teachers. One team member helped his child's teacher, and then pretty much that whole school, set up remote classrooms. Another employee came through for a Dallas area homeless shelter. As the facility shifted to sheltering in place and providing round-the-clock services, where previously they offered meals and a bed for the night, they were trying to provide the services and care without any computers. So our team member jumped in and provided laptops for all the staff so they could communicate with each other remotely while still performing their major services of helping residents find homes and jobs. Here's a look of how we helped.
To protect the health and safety of our clients, we were following CDC recommended guidelines of distancing and spacing, and there was just about 50% of our staff that now were working remotely. The problem came in that working remotely, they had absolutely no technology, no laptops, and so we were faced with a challenge.
The world was being shut down. Tons of businesses were being shut down. We're all being impacted. When Mersham called, I needed lots of people to help solve this problem for the shelter. And their response was exactly the same as mine. Stop what you're doing and help. And I think that speaks to Dell's culture, and I'm extremely proud of that.
He told us that when he described the shelter situation to his boss, the manager said, "Stop what you're doing and help." This was actually the rally cry throughout Dell Technologies. Meanwhile, our leadership at Dell Technologies also shifted their approach and perspectives on what productivity meant. Managers were introduced to empathetic human leadership styles, as they were also introduced to their team members' kids, dogs, and cats. We were zooming right into each other's homes, seeing decor choices, views from their windows. Everything was instantly so personal. And our CEO, Michael Dell, in addition to being on countless troubleshooting calls with global customers, also led remote story time for team members and their kids on a suddenly virtual take your kid to work day. And by team member kid demand, he actually did this multiple times. It's pretty cute. Michael Dell's approach to his employees, customers, and our community and the world during the pandemic led him to be named #1 on Fast Company's list of tech CEOs that improved their public perception during the pandemic. Now, that certainly wasn't the goal, but when you lead with your heart, it shows. And his intentions were clear, and people responded. But here's the big question. Did we believe it? Did we believe his heart was really in it? We absolutely did. The pride we felt for our company, and in particular our leader, was enormous throughout this process, and still is today. Meanwhile, the hashtag #IWorkForDell went wild on our social media feeds. We couldn't believe our luck to work for a company and leadership that knew where we needed to be before we even knew it ourselves. And then we all turned around and did it for our customers. I'll never forget it. It was like one big, huge pay it forward. Looking back, the actions we took as a company defined us in the moment and will for the future. And while so much of what we did was behind the scenes, it showed us how relentless we are as a company, both to our customers and to ourselves. So, marketing during a pandemic. There was no playbook for that. In March, when things started to unfold, we put our new platform launch on hold. As marketers, you can understand how difficult that was to do, considering we'd spent the better half of a year building it. But as the pandemic progressed and the hearts and minds of the people of the world shifted, we looked at our platform and realized while it was developed to be optimistic, now it sounded a bit tone deaf. So we started work on a new platform during a pandemic, working remote, and really not knowing what kind of world we were developing the platform for. In the meantime, we needed to keep the lights on. So we looked towards content and video to keep our voice in the marketplace. We had this unofficial mantra, serve, don't sell. We developed content that was raw but effective and relevant to the current environment. We packaged up what we were doing and partnered with publishers to do a live event series featuring our customers, executives, and experts. And we didn't stop there. We made a TV spot featuring our customer service reps that were there to help. We shot with Dell Technologies team members in their real homes, telling the world that they'd be there, doing what they always did to help us all get through this. Here's our spot.
Now, more than ever, you need technology you can rely on.
頼れる人ですよね. I'm a Dell Technologies advisor.
Ich auch.
我也是. 我aussi.
And if you're a small business, we're with you.
We are with you.
Estamos com você. We want to help.
So we'll be right here.
At home, answering your calls, providing support,
and standing by you every step of the way.
Bye-bye.
We wanted to thread the needle of not dwelling on unprecedented times, rather the solutions coming out of it. In the meantime, we continued developing our new platform. We wanted to find an authentic approach that was true to who we were. And we found that some of the key points of inspiration were based on our actions over the past several months. The relentless spirit to figure it out, no matter the challenges or obstacles. And we knew this driven, committed approach was going to be relevant for years to come. And this became our golden thread of inspiration. And lo and behold, our Stop at Nothing platform was born. It was the result of who we are and what our customers need, an essential technology partner that stops at nothing so they can succeed. We had our big idea, but still a pandemic. And we needed to produce a campaign that got the word out. So we did what we always do. We got to work. To get teams motivated and introduce the concept of our new platform, last September, we developed an internal sizzle reel to build excitement around how we were going to go to market later in October. So I'm sure most of us have done this. You snag clips from the internet, B-roll, internal team member footage, then you drop in a great music track and it feels good. But we put together a reel that made people feel great. So great, in fact, that we were asked to use the reel at the now remote Dell Technologies World event in October, which happened to be 3 days before a new spot was going to air, kicking off our new platform. So we polished up a few scenes so it was industrial use friendly, and we did it. Now, when we've done sizzle reels in the past, they're flashy and fun, they have their moment, and then they make way for the actual highly produced campaign. So that was the plan for this one. Then the call came in. The sizzle reel was getting so much great feedback. We were asked if we could run it this weekend during our launch at the World Series. Okay, so this moment was big. Was this the right thing to do for our brand? Run an internal video externally? This also meant getting everything broadcast ready and changing our media buy within 48 hours. At Dell Technologies, we like to say we're scrappy, but this was ultra scrappy, even for us. So after getting over production value concerns, we really focused on how it made people feel. It made them feel excited and proud. It told our story and it showed our commitment to our customers. What we had been feeling as a company throughout the pandemic, both internally and for each other, and externally for our customers, was so evident in this sizzle reel, it was hard not to react to it. And hell, nothing in 2020 was conventional, so we did it. Here's what we ran.
Welcome to the future. You're gonna wanna get ready. You're gonna wanna get ready. You're gonna wanna get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Welcome to the future. Welcome to the future. Welcome to the future. Here we are making history. Higher than we've ever been. You're gonna wanna get ready. Get ready, get ready. Welcome to the future.
So, this kicked off our new platform. A platform that was built by the actions and grit that defined the past year and gave us and our customers confidence in our capabilities. And most of all, our commitment to stop at nothing in service to them. But once we had this platform, we still needed to make the work. Still was COVID and in record time. So again, no easy task. But channeling our own ethos, we got to work. Our creative team flew to Slovenia, where production was still open. And thanks to the magic of Zoom, our marketing team was able to guide the shoot back in Austin, Texas, even though it was in the middle of the night our time. And with our combined efforts and stop at nothing attitude, we were able to create a bold breakthrough campaign that told the world what Dell Technologies was all about. Here it is.
We started with computers. We didn't stop at computers. We didn't stop at storage. We didn't stop at cloud. We didn't stop at wholly integrated intergalactic solutions. We kept going, working with our customers to enable the kind of technology that can guide an astronaut back to safety, or help make a hospital come to you instead of you going to it. And we didn't stop there. We're even working to make packaging that comes from waste instead of producing it. Because we saw a world that was full of challenges and ready for solutions. So when it comes to your business, you know we'll stop at nothing.
So, looking back, like I have, in order to share why I think we were granted this award, I now believe that this whole experience was perhaps our silver lining from one of the hardest years of a lifetime. We lived our purpose, tested our mettle, came through for our customers and ourselves. When your words, actions, and beliefs all converge like this, nothing can stop you. So I'll leave you with these lessons that we knew theoretically before the pandemic and that were proven to be true after going through it. Always be authentic. Always be helpful. Never be opportunistic. And when hit with difficult times, serve, don't sell. And if you're lucky enough to have leadership that is both loved and respected, thank your lucky stars for that too. Thank you from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of Dell Technologies. Now, back to Victoria.
Okay, Rachel, goosebumps and a lot to play back. When you described the manager at Dell saying to his team member, quote, "Stop what you're doing and help," I literally got goosebumps. And when you said that this became the rally cry throughout Dell, I got more goosebumps. And when you said, quote, "When you lead with your heart, it shows," I couldn't agree more. Dell's ability, your team's ability to shift gears so quickly and execute so well, that was really remarkable. And so is the unconventional courage to turn your internal sizzle reel into a high-profile external spot. Such great spirit and such great work. But turning parking lots into tech distribution centers to help customers to go completely remote, okay, now that's genius. And what I loved most of all, and again, could not agree with more, were your closing remarks. Quote, always be authentic, always be helpful, never be opportunistic. And when hit with difficult times, serve, don't sell. It's clear as a bell why you and Dell earned this Communicators of the Year honor. Thank you, Rachel. Our final category for the evening is the connector. The roar of the stadium may have been stilled in 2020, but Gatorade and Jill Abbott, head of consumer engagement, created an entirely new way of using the thrill of sports to entertain and inspire its consumers. To introduce Jill, please welcome Etienne Katz, global lead at Twitter. Etienne is also a longtime board member of ANA New York City, a member of its executive committee, as well as a past president. Etienne?
Thank you, Victoria. As many of you know, Twitter is what's happening in the world and what people are talking about. And oh, there was a lot to talk about last year. Think back to where you were in May of 2020 and how you were feeling. We were all in the middle of doing our best to manage our way through very unprecedented times. So many things were missing from our lives, but one aspect really stood out. We missed connecting with one another. So how does a brand help bridge that gap? A quote in Forbes stated, "Building social connectedness through nostalgia is an easy way to leverage optimistic feelings that often accompany walks down memory lane." With that insight, Gatorade knew exactly what to do. The acclaimed documentary about Michael Jordan, The Last Dance, was scheduled to debut later in 2020. Gatorade was not one of the exclusive sponsors of the documentary, yet they were so instrumental in the rise of Michael Jordan with their own Be Like Mike campaign throughout the 90s. Gatorade saw an authentic opportunity to fill our common void of the absence of sports and the joy associated with being a part of the roar of a stadium. The focus needed to be on how to open the vault of content with one generation while introducing another to Gatorade's brand heritage, and to do it sooner than later. To take us inside the amazing journey of how Gatorade and The Last Dance came together, I have the pleasure of introducing Gatorade's Head of Consumer Engagement, Jill Abbott, the winner of the ANA Communicators of the Year Award in the Connector category.
Thank you. I am so excited and really honored to be here tonight to speak to you about the Gatorade Last Dance activation and to accept this award on behalf of Gatorade. So every Gatorade presentation starts with roughly the same thing. We talk about our mission and our belief. Our mission is to fuel athletic performance, and our belief is that performance starts from the inside. This is at the center of everything we do. It's what drives us forward. But why we do what we do comes back to the power of sport. And we know that sport can bring us together like absolutely nothing else. It lifts us up. It gives us something to work for, something to be inspired by, something to connect around. And we know that at their greatest, athletes can make the world stop in its tracks. But unfortunately, last year, something much, much bigger stopped the world, and it stopped sport. And at a time where we needed more than anything as a society to feel connected and to have something to rally behind, we no longer had sports play that role for us. And I know, at least for my team, we desperately, desperately missed it. So on to our friends at ESPN. We're all marketers, but we're all humans in the world first. And when ESPN announced that they were going to pull forward The Last Dance, we were absolutely fired up. We couldn't wait to watch it. It gave us something to look forward to. But then we're also marketers, so we very quickly put on our marketing hat and we started to talk about, what do we do? How do we take a part in this massive, massive cultural experience? So we brought a couple of our partners together. TBWA Chiat Day out of LA, Swift out of Portland, and of course, Twitter. We talked to them about this situation. You know, everyone knew that live sports was on hold, and we all were anxiously awaiting this accelerated release of The Last Dance. We knew it was going to be one of the most epic moments of sport in 2020. And we talked about our opportunity. As a partner of MJ's, a long-term partner of MJ's, we felt that we were more than just a sponsor. We were more than just put your logo in here and add in a television spot. We wanted to actually be part of this cultural conversation. And so we gave the team the KPI of driving engagement with NBA Twitter surrounding the Last Dance documentary. And when we briefed our agencies and we briefed our partners, we were also fired up about the ideas that came in, that we couldn't just select one, we needed to do 2 of the lead ideas. The first one that I'll walk you through is reimagining Be Like Mike. So anyone who was a kid in the 90s probably, or any time before that, remembers the jingle, hopefully remembers some of the imagery, and really feels that sense of nostalgia for Be Like Mike. What we wanted to do was reconfigure that nostalgia, bring it back to those of us who remember it, but also invite a new generation of athletes to also be like Mike. So we took the original spot and we infused some new talent into it. We reached out to a few of our Gatorade partners, Elena, Jason, and Zion, and we asked them to film themselves trying to be like Mike, spending some time at home. Everybody was at home at that point in time. And just go and have fun, go and be inspired, go and do what you do when you're thinking about being like Mike. And we took that footage and infused it back into the original spot to create a hybrid spot that talked about the best in sport then, now, and forever. And I'll give you a minute to take a chance to see what we created.
Sometimes I dream that he is me. You got to see that's how I dream to be. A dream I move, a dream I groove.
Like Mike, if I could be like Mike, I'm gonna be like Mike. Like Mike, if I could be like Mike, be like Mike, if I could be like Mike, be like.
So we dropped the spot in social media, but we didn't want to just launch a 30-second spot that felt like anybody could just put a 30 out there. We wanted to be something that was a little bit more easy to communicate, easy to engage with, easy to be a part of versus just watch. So we cut down and created a number of GIFs. We know that for our teen athletes especially, the number one way that they communicate with each other is through text and DM. So we wanted to create these more snackable pieces of content that they could share back and forth. And then we also wanted them to be a part of Be Like Mike. So we dropped the song itself on Instagram and encouraged, through a bunch of our friends at Gatorade and influencers, encouraged our teen athletes and our athletes everywhere to create their own version of the Be Like Mike spot. And by the numbers, we hit our goal. We were part of the conversation with Be Like Mike. So Be Like Mike, the hashtag, custom hashtag, trended 13 on the US on Twitter. We had over 800,000 earned media impressions. And one of the things that was really important to me is the content was really sticky. We had more than the industry average standard view rate. We hit 46% view rate, which beats the industry standard, but also beats Gatorade's average view rate of 30%. And of course, the bigger picture, we inspired an entire new generation to want to be like Mike. But we didn't want to stop there. We felt like, as I mentioned before, there was too many good ideas to just do one. So the next thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to extend the excitement around the Last Dance documentary, and more specifically around the Bulls, and we wanted to showcase Game 6 live. So the concept here is that in the absence of live sport, we didn't have anything to watch. So let's re-air one of the greats. We partnered with the NBA and with Twitter to re-air the last game that the Bulls dynasty ever played together. And then we created a full experience, an immersive live watch party around it to give it more texture and more context. The nuts and bolts, we did a full rerun of Game 6 from the '98 finals between the Bulls and the Jazz, minus commercials with a few Gatorade intersection points here and there. When we did it, well, the last of the series ended on a Sunday night. I think we'd all gotten used to this, like Sunday night was the highlight of the week. And we were anticipating a big letdown after the last of the documentary aired. So we decided to re-air Game 6 the following Monday and give fans and athletes everywhere just one more infusion of sport in their lives. Where we did it on Twitter. It was a co-branded live Twitter event with Gatorade and our partners at the NBA. And then we wanted to do more than just rerun it. We also wanted to bring, as I mentioned, that context and texture. So we talked to athletes and sports personalities that could represent what happened back in '98 and also sports personalities and athletes that are really representative of sport today and where sport could be going. So we leaned into some of our broader partners from an athlete perspective, as well as leaning into platforms like Overtime to help bring that kind of more youthful voice into the activation. And the overview itself, it was a pretty short flight. So we thought about how do we hype this up? And we didn't want to spend too much time. We wanted to really pack a powerful punch. So as soon as the final episode of the documentary went live, we put full court press to get people to know that this new event was going to be happening the next night. We drove a lot of excitement and awareness for the live event through Twitter and using things like some more retro look and feel ads, former labels, things that are going to get people to really understand that they can have one more moment of live sport excitement. So 24 hours later, Monday night, that's where we allowed people to participate, or we invited people to participate. We had, of course, the game streaming, but that's where we had this live watch party, live tweeting, a lot of content going on around it. And then we thought about how do we sustain that? Not everybody had had enough after that Monday night. So we continued to replay a few times, and then we integrated a lot of highlights throughout the Twitter universe and maintained a lot of brand integration so we could bring a brand message forward. And then by the numbers, so we had just shy of 2 million unique live stream views. This was over 2.5 years of total view time. And we trended again. Game 6 Live hit 22 in the US on Twitter. For our internal handles, we had our best performing Gatorade organic post of all time was tied to this event. And then we had over 10 million press impressions, which drove a lot of excitement and buzz in lieu of having a big paid support. And then for our athletes, more importantly, I think we just let them have a little bit more fun. And with that, I will say thank you again. We're very, very honored to be here. And I will hand it back to Victoria to finish up the evening.
Jill, thank you. There's so much to love about the work you and your partners did around The Last Dance. The work emanated so directly from the center of your brand, from your central truth that sports can bring us together like nothing else. You were also able to tap into our yearning to feel connected at a time when we were so missing live sports. And the execution was just phenomenal. To integrate a new generation of stars into the Be Like Mike spot and then let folks create and post their own versions, brilliant and moving and meaningful and participatory. There are so many other really great aspects of the strategy and the work as borne out by the great results you shared. But your combination of purpose, insight, and creativity, well, it's Communicators of the Year worthy. Save for a few final words from Tom Stein, this concludes our program for the evening. More so now than ever, the Communicators of the Year provide compelling evidence of just how much vitality, innovation, and heart exists in marketing today. So I'll come back to the word I started with, humanity. Heart and human connection are what these Communicators of the Year are all about. Thanks to ANA New York City's board for celebrating our best communicators for more than 5 decades running. And congratulations once again to Melissa, Walter, Rachel, and Jill. Tom, please come on up for a few parting words.
Thanks, Victoria. I add my congratulations to yours. Melissa, Walter, Rachel, Jill, amazingly and inspiringly great. Congratulations and thank you for sharing your brilliant work. This concludes the 2020 Communicators of the Year Awards. I hope that next year we'll find us together at Forbes on Fifth for the 58th Annual Communicators of the Year event, though I'm now quite sure it will be a hybrid event, live for some and virtual for others. The world changes in all sorts of ways. This coming year, I have to hope it changes for the better, and I have good reason to think it may. We've been through a lot, we marketers, we people. We've shown resilience because that's what humans do, but even more, we have shown incredible adaptability, innovation under fire, and never-ending creativity. Our Communicators of the Year have shown us that, haven't they? Thank you once more, Forbes, the Wall Street Journal, TriNet, and Twitter, respectively Jessica, Rob, Michael, and Etienne. Thank you, Victoria. Your insights, passion, and elegance made tonight special. And thank you all for attending. Please count yourselves as members of the ANA NYC community It's a very special community, made more so by your presence. With that said, have a great evening. Stay safe, stay well.